Hey guys, Josh from soccerreviewsforyou.com, bringing you an unboxing plus on-feet video of the Adidas Predator Incurza for 2014. Now inside the box, as you guys can see, all you get are the shoes themselves. They do not come with any extras. So let me get these guys out of the box really quickly, and we'll take a closer look at the rugby-specific version of the Adidas Predator. Now for those that don't know, Adidas actually does have a rugby specific line of footwear, most notably the Incurza, which bears the Predator name. That really got me curious. I did bring in a Predator Incurza rugby boot in the past. It honestly was not overly impressive, but when I saw the design of this particular shoe, it got me curious again, so I decided to bring them in. Now for those that are less familiar with rugby shoes, most of them are soft ground and they feature very large metal studs that I don't believe are even legal to be used on a soccer field. But what Adidas does with their rugby cleats is they actually make a firm ground variation, and as you guys can see, the firm ground variation of the 2014 Predator Incurza features the comfort frame sole plate and stud pattern that you would normally find on the 11 Pros. So with this sole plate, this stud pattern, and the interesting Predator Incurza 2014 upper, I thought it'd be an interesting thing to bring in and do a little review for you guys, for those that are perhaps not as big a fan of the current Predator Instinct. And again, I just thought this design was particularly unique, which of course we're going to be talking about in today's video. So in the video, we're going to go over all of the tech specs, take a look at the visuals of the shoe compared to other shoes, including the Predator Instinct. Of course, talk about how they fit and feel, and again, just do a general overview of everything you could possibly want to know regarding the Predator Incurza. If you're interested in a pair of these, check out the review page on my website. It's the first link in the description. There will be buy it now links there. And with that being said, let's get right into the review. To start things off, let's talk about the visuals of the Predator Incurza for 2014. This is really the first thing that drew me to bringing this shoe in the first place, is just because I thought it was a really cool looking shoe overall. The design reminded me a lot of older Predators, where you have a vamp of leather or smooth synthetic or just a smooth material in general, the off-centered lacing system, and then of course the Predator rubberized elements here in the strike zone area across your foot. Now this particular colorway, as you guys can see, is black and white, very, very simple. And then you have that accent color of bright orange, which is very close to a classic Predator color of black, white, and red. Obviously you have orange instead of red, but nonetheless I think it's a pretty good looking color scheme. Now you're going to notice that the black area is mostly on the lateral side and the white area is mostly on the medial side. It kind of has that flip-flop design, similar to the 11 Pro to a certain extent. So the medial side is mostly white with black elements in the form of the Adidas stripes as well as the rubberized striking element. And then, like I said, the lateral side is mostly black with the white elements in the form of the actual Adidas stripes, the white tongue with your black Adidas branding, the orange laces, the orange branding right here on the heel. Heel liner is white with the insole being orange. You do have a little bit of a Predator detail right here in clear. It's white on clear, so a little bit difficult to see, but it is there. Nice little detail. And then of course the sole plate is that of the 11 Pro, featuring that comfort frame. Some of the studs are clear, some of the studs are orange, some of the actual sole plate is clear, some of it's orange, some of it's black, and then you got that pattern on the underside that to me just looks really cool and matches the actual striking element itself. So again, definitely has that Predator look to me. Just to give you guys a quick side by side, here is the Predator Instinct. Leave your opinions down below in the comments. Visually, do you like the look of the Predator Instinct or the Predator Incurza? I'd be curious to hear what your opinions are and just get a general consensus down below in the comment section. So again, leave your opinions down below, and next we'll move on to the tech specs of the Predator Incurza so we can learn a little bit more about the overall performance. Visually, the Predator Incurza looks the part, at least in my opinion. It really does have that Predator vibe, but because it is designed specifically for rugby, I'm sure a lot of you guys are curious how it will perform in a soccer environment, and of course how it differs from the Predator Instinct, which is of course the soccer version of the Adidas Predator. Now, as you guys can tell, this definitely has a less aggressive design as far as the rubber elements are concerned in comparison to the Predator Instinct. You are going to find those classic Predator rubber elements on the shoe, but obviously not to the same extent. Now the upper, while it may appear to be a natural leather material, and up until this point, especially if you're not familiar with this shoe, you may have been fooled, but this is in fact 100% synthetic. The upper is made from hybrid touch, so the same material you would find on the Predator Instinct. The hybrid touch itself, I would say, is a little bit thicker though, has more of a padded sensation, and because the majority of the upper, at least in the forefoot as well as on the lateral side of the shoe, is left completely free of any rubber elements, it's definitely going to provide more of a leather-like sensation than what you're going to find from the Predator Instinct, which is more about having rubber across the entire shoe and just getting tons and tons of grip on the ball. So this is going to have more of a traditional Predator experience, I would say pre-LZ1, I guess is the best way to put it, where again, you're going to not have too much grip on the ball when you're dribbling and stuff like that, but of course when you're striking the ball, you're going to get all that extra grip from the rubber elements. As far as seams go, it isn't quite as seamless a design as what you're going to find from the Predator Instinct, and what I mean by that is the actual seams in the upper. You can see there's a pretty big seam right there, but that's fairly out of the way. You got a seam here, which again isn't going to bother anybody. I'm a little bit worried about this seam right here that cuts across the forefoot in like a zigzag pattern, where obviously it cuts off from being smooth hybrid touch to actually being a rubberized element. Not sure if that's something you're going to feel while you're wearing the shoes or during the break-in process, but so far just from trying them on, it seems to be all right. Now of course it does have that off-centered lacing system, as you guys can see, a little bit more dramatic than what you're going to find on the Predator Instinct. And then of course the thing everybody wants to know about, the actual Predator element. Now it is made from the same rubber material as what you're going to find on the Predator Instinct, although I would say it's a lot less aggressive in comparison. So you can see the Predator Instinct element, they both have that same kind of zigzag design. Of course there is more rubber on the Instinct versus the Incurza right here, but again, same idea gets kind of taken away from what you're going to expect, what you should expect as far as feel is concerned. It's just extra grip on the ball. It's not going to increase your power. It's not going to increase your accuracy, but you are getting that extra grip, which is a nice sensation to have, a nice feature to have when it comes to striking the ball. So very curious to shoot the ball around in these. Again, it's more of a traditional Predator element in that it doesn't span the entire shoe, which I think a lot of people will like, especially the purists who are fans of the older Predator models. And one shoe that I also wanted to compare the Incurza to is actually this guy right here, the Adidas T90 Laser 4. If we look at the actual element on here, the striking element, you can see that visually and as far as the shape and how much of the shoe it covers, they're very, very similar. So just a quick side-by-side look. Has that same angle to it. The one on the Adidas shoe here is definitely more of a sticky rubber than what you're going to find on the T90 Laser 4, which is a much firmer rubber. So as far as grip is concerned, I think you're definitely going to get more grip from what you're finding here on the Predator Incurza. It's also a lot more minimal, so it's not going to be quite as bulky on your feet. And again, just a very interesting striking element from Adidas that I can't wait to try out. So like I mentioned, off-centered lacing system. You can see you have some lace holes and some loop lacing, so it doesn't actually cover up the element, which is a nice little addition here lower on the foot. The tongue itself, it would be my one major complaint regarding this particular shoe. It's kind of a cheaper tongue. It's got a synthetic leather material and then this really kind of cheap backing. Very similar to the current 11 Nova tongue if I had to compare it to something else. It's not terrible, but it certainly isn't what I would expect on a top-end soccer shoe or rugby shoe, I guess, in this particular situation. So kind of curious to see how it's going to feel and kind of just impact the overall playing experience in the Predator Incurza. You do have that extra drop-down lace hole, which I really like, so if you want that extra locked-in feel, you can use that extra lace hole, and you guys will see what that looks like tied up a little bit later during the on-feet portion of the video. It does have pretty much the same cut in the heel. It has more of a traditional kind of shape to it at the very back as opposed to being completely rounded on the regular Predator Instinct. It has, like I said, more of a traditional shape. No major difference there in terms of feel though. The heel liner itself is a smooth synthetic leather material, and then you have these little kind of black graphics here, which is actually slightly grippy and textured, which should help to keep your heel locked in place. Plenty of padding there as well, so no issues with step-in comfort. You shouldn't find any, I guess. And then as far as the insole is concerned, it is fully removable. It features a mesh liner on top, more of that grippy texturing right here on the heel, which is a nice little addition, and is actually different than what you're going to find in the regular Predators. It is made from a single layer of foam. You get some extra foam reinforcements right here in the forefoot and toe area, which is a nice little addition. But something that's a little bit more difficult to see is the actual heel. It has kind of a heel wedge in that there's a ton of extra foam here. It's very, very firm. I would say the foam is about that thick, which is abnormal in comparison to a soccer shoe where normally the insoles are very, very thin. Honestly, it feels a little bit strange at first. It's trying to create that heel lift, kind of put you on your toes a little bit, more of a running shoe type of stance. I'm personally not crazy about it. I'm going to be testing these shoes with this insole as well as just a regular pair of insoles and just end up using the pair that I find most comfortable. Again, this is not a deal breaker, just something that I found was interesting that you're going to find on this rugby shoe that you wouldn't find on pretty much any soccer shoe. Maybe something from Asics. They like to implement that heel lift type of thing, and that's really what's going on here with this particular Adidas insole. And then of course, as far as the sole plate and stud pattern is concerned, nothing too unusual here. This is the 11 Pro comfort frame and firm ground stud pattern, so it's very kind of flexible TPU plastic material, good thickness to it, so very good comfort underfoot, as the name would suggest. And then of course you get that 11 Pro stud pattern, which is kind of just a modern take on what you're going to find from the Copa Mundial, where the studs are more triangular in shape as opposed to completely rounded. So it's a hybrid between bladed and conical studs. And honestly, it's not exceptional as far as traction is concerned, but it's just a really good all-around stud pattern. It's not particularly aggressive. It's very, very stable. You get plenty of maneuverability when your foot is planted. And again, it's just a really nice stud pattern to use. No complaints regarding this whatsoever. And if anything, I actually prefer this stud pattern than what is included on the standard Predator Instinct, but that's just me. Your opinion may differ. So that's pretty much it as far as an overview and all the tech specs that you should know regarding the Predator Incurza for 2014. And next we're going to take a look at how much these things weigh versus the Predator Instinct to see if there is any major difference. As far as weight is concerned, I thought it'd be fun to compare the weight of a rugby shoe versus a soccer shoe. In this particular situation, the Predator Instinct and the Predator Incurza. So keep in mind that both of these shoes are in brand new condition and are both the same size 9 US, so this is a very fair comparison. We'll start off with the Predator Instinct, throw it on the scale. You guys have seen the weight of this shoe many times before on my channel, 9.6 ounces. Not particularly light, but certainly not a heavy shoe either. We'll pull that off the scale and we'll throw on the Predator Incurza, and you guys can see that this shoe weighs in at 9.35 or 9.4 ounces to keep things simple. There it goes, actually switched on its own. So there's a 0.2 ounce difference between the Predator Instinct and the Predator Incurza, with the edge going to the Incurza being ever so slightly lighter. Is this a noticeable amount of weight? Absolutely not. And I think it also must be considered that the Predator Incurza does have a much beefier insole in comparison to the Predator Instinct, which actually can add half an ounce of weight on its own. So the Predator Incurza is ever so slightly lighter than what you're going to find from the Predator Instinct. But if you are trying to decide between both of these two shoes, I honestly don't think that weight should be the factor. They both have a nice solid build. Neither of them are particularly lightweight, but that's not really what you're looking for if you're interested in the Predator model anyway. So again, as far as weight is concerned, the Incurza is a little bit lighter than the Instinct, but nothing major at all. Alright, so here's a look at the Predator Incurzas on feet, and I have to say, out of the box, they feel really, really good. I brought in a pair of Predator Incurzas a long time ago, and they weren't the greatest as far as comfort is concerned, but these are a dramatic improvement. And I think a lot of that is down to the overall design and just the improvement of hybrid touch over the years. Now, out of the box, the hybrid touch synthetic is soft, it's flexible, it's comfortable, and actually feels quite leather-like. Like I mentioned, in comparison to the Predator Instinct, it does have a thicker, more padded sensation about it. And because you don't have rubber elements scattered across the entire upper, and of course that 11 Pro base, as opposed to the control frame base that you would find on the Predator Instinct, the Incurza has a completely different feel in comparison to the soccer version of the Predator. It's not bad, it's not better, it's just something that is what I would classify as different, but still very, very good. More of a traditional feel, I would say, in comparison to the Instinct. As far as other elements of the shoe are concerned, it does have a fairly unusual lacing system where the laces are pushed to the outside, but you can see it just looks like it gets wider and wider as you get towards the top, and that's actually due to how the shoe is cut. You can see it's cut straight here, but here it gets very close and then gets further and further away. So no matter if your foot is wide or narrow or average width, it's just going to have that same appearance on your foot. So that is something to keep in mind. But as far as width is concerned, it's a snug fitting shoe. It doesn't feel restrictive by any means. Of course, with the standard Predator Instinct, you have all those rubber elements. It is going to restrict how much that shoe will stretch. And I don't think that the Predator Incurza is going to stretch a lot, but it probably will give just a little bit more than what you're going to find from the Instinct. And as far as the overall shape of the shoe is concerned, because it does have that 11 Pro base, the overall shape is similar to the 11 Pro. Again, it's all synthetic material, so you have to be reasonable with how much you can expect this shoe to stretch after some break-in time. But overall, I think it's going to be suitable for most foot types. And as long as you don't have excessively wide feet and you generally tend to fit into synthetic shoes of this type, you shouldn't have any issues in the Predator Incurza either. One last thing I wanted to touch on regarding the comfort and fit of the shoe is that insole with the heel lift. I talked about it with ASICS shoes where they actually have a heel lift as well, but when ASICS does it, it's actually something that's incorporated into the design of the shoe as opposed to just being an add-on with the insole. In the case of the Predator Incurza, like I said, it feels like it's just extra foam under your heel. It's not a bad thing by any means, but it definitely does feel a little bit weird in comparison to a standard soccer cleat. So of course I will give it a go throughout testing, but I can probably tell you right now that through the majority of the testing, I probably will just swap them out for a standard pair of insoles and wear them like that, just because it's going to feel a little bit more comfortable to me personally. As far as the sizing is concerned, I'm wearing my usual size 9 US here, and the fit and the length is absolutely perfect. So if you are looking to order a pair of these for yourself, I would strongly recommend going true to size for the best possible fit, just as you would with the Predator Instinct or even the 11 Pro, which is kind of what this shoe is a combination of. Alright guys, that's it for my unboxing and kind of first impressions video of the 2014 Predator Incurza by Adidas. Really interesting shoe. I think it definitely looks the part, and it's what I would describe as a less aggressive or arguably more traditional variation of what you get from the Predator Instinct, which is of course the soccer version of the Predator. Can't wait to try these out. Really optimistic about the overall design. And again, it just seems to be a really, really nice shoe. So if you guys want more info, check out the review page on my website. First link down below in the description. I will of course follow up with a full written review in about a month's time or so once I've had an opportunity to try these out. In the meantime, you can find the high quality images that I took myself of this particular pair, as well as buy it now links in all the currently available colorways. If you're interested in the pair, again, first link down below in the description. As far as rugby shoes on the channel are concerned, it's not something that's going to happen all the time, but when I come across a particular rugby shoe that I find to be interesting, like the Predator Incurza, especially one with a stud pattern that is wearable for soccer. Obviously, this is just the firm ground stud pattern you'd find on the 11 Pro. I think it's something that brings some variety to the channel. It's interesting to me, so I figure you guys would be interested in it as well. So leave your opinions on that down below in the comments, and even if you have suggestions for a particular shoe that you'd like to see featured on the channel, leave those down below in the comments and I'll take a look at what you guys are suggesting. In the meantime as well, if you have any questions at all, leave a comment down below and I definitely will get an answer out to you. If you enjoyed today's video, found it helpful and informative, be sure to support it with a like. That would be greatly appreciated. Subscribe if you haven't already for daily videos on all the latest and greatest soccer gear. You can find all my social media information down below in the description as well. And other than that, guys, hope you enjoyed today's video. And as always, thanks for watching.